Okay, now I had Rush's brother. I had David Limbaugh.
Oh, I love him.
I had David on the other day, and we were yucking it up and had a great conversation. And he was absolutely shocked that I demonized Newt Gingrich. He was like, I can't believe you said it. I'm glad you said it because I thought I was the only one that thought that way. I'm like, David, this man has sold out the movement. The reason Republicans and conservatives are in trouble is because, damn it, they're not conservatives. When you say that, listen, we're $20 billion socialists when it comes to S-chip, not $40 billion profligate spenders like the Democrats. You have lost the battle, Ann Coulter. These people, we have Republicans. They're phony patriots, not phony soldiers, phony patriots out there, phony conservatives that have cost this movement. Now, talk about that.
No, you're absolutely right. And this cowardice seems to be concentrated in Washington Republicans. There is no leadership. I don't expect to be able to teach old Republicans new tricks, but I hope young Republicans, the college Republicans, the greatest humans on the face of the planet, will be able to read Chapter 1 of this book and learn from it, because most of it, Chapter 1 is a roller coaster tour through 10 years of my career-ending statements, and it hasn't stopped me yet. So it's a message to young right-wingers. These people aren't that frightening anymore. We certainly do not have equal media, mainstream media attention, but we have a drop in the ocean, which is more than we had 20 years ago. If I had tried to have this exact same career 20 years ago, no, I would be gone. I would be gone the way of Joe McCarthy, Richard Nixon, Judge Bork, Dan Quayle. They could destroy people at the drop of a hat. Well, they can't do that anymore. And as Ronald Reagan said, one of my favorite quotes, and like all of them true, you can always trust the American people as long as there's some way of the truth getting out there. And as for the S-chip, the truth that needs to get out there is the best method of distributing goods and services ever devised in the minds of man is the free market system. I mean, how you buy computers, houses, how you choose who's going to color your hair or do your manicure, or acupuncture or Botox. That is by far the best way to distribute goods and services. And what we have now is little layers of socialism to distribute health care. People are unhappy with it. I would hardly call it a crisis, but you have the Veterans Administration for veterans. You have the S-chip program for poor children. You have emergency rooms required to take anyone who comes in. You have Medicare. You have Medicaid. You have monopoly on insurance coverage from state to state. 50 little monopolies. With competition. Whenever you see these raids on illegal aliens or crack houses, one thing I've noticed is they always have a flat screen TV. Now, how are flat screen TVs distributed? Through the free market system. So you have a free market, the prices come down, the services are better, and you don't have to wait a month to get an appointment. Well, and the other thing, she just mentioned the word competition here. As a student of F.A. Hayek's Road to Serfdom here, the whole first chapter deals with this. It's all about competition, and it is the only vehicle on the planet, as you say, that can accomplish any of these titanian goals that Democrats seem to have, now that Republicans seem to have. And it is... Republicans don't believe they can convince the American people of this. They figure they have lost, and they'll just, give us socialism light, while Democrats want to give us, Pol Pot socialism. Pol Pot socialism. You also, in that same chapter, and you've written about this before, about how these people, they're just not that scary. I mean, look, their poster boy is the Breck girl. No one is afraid to go into a wrestling ring with John Edwards. No one is afraid to go into a debate ring with Hillary Clinton. What happened to Mrs. Clinton the other night? We've spent hours on this program chuckling and laughing it up at the most smartest, erudite, toughest leader of the free world, the representative of all representatives of females since Joan of Arc. That's going to lead everybody to the promised land here. And now she can't do battle with Tim Russer. She's got Bill out there, Slick Hilly and Slick Billy, out there pointing fingers at students at the Microsoft campus in Seattle last week. Saying things like, does that sound like that was fair to you? I was breathtakingly taken back. This was the most unfair question I've ever heard in my entire life of listening to presidential questioning.
He said this. I'm not making this up. He actually said this. You may have seen this. You may have heard this.
Yes. And, yes, that beast Tim Russert engaged in a cruel journalistic practice brought back, well, always for Republicans or conservatives, but newly applied to a Democrat known as the follow-up question. And she was totally tripped up by it. What was interesting about the debate to me, I had T-voted, and so I didn't watch it that night. I saw the coverage the next day on Hillary taking every possible position on driver's licenses for illegal aliens, which it took her a few days to clarify. She is for them now, it turns out.
Yes.
And a few other issues. And when I watched the debate, I mean, that was, one of the least crazy moments of the debate, which is why I'm strongly encouraging Americans, especially Americans who work for a living, to watch this debate, because all the Democrats are out of their minds. And yes, they've all become women. This idea that, Hillary has some special dispensation because she's the only one who's actually, biologically a woman. They're all women.
Well, and the other thing that you picked up on, and to tell you the truth, it must have just been so disastrously destructive that my mind just said, "You didn't hear that." My mind just blacked it out, and you picked up on this, and I heard you talk about this with Cavuto. I think it was Chris Dodd that actually said, or maybe it was Hillary, we're going to go into their homes. We want universal nursery care, and we're going to send social workers into the home of 2-year-olds to get this stuff started early. That's why kids are stupid, because Hillary's appointed stormtroopers or education troopers haven't gone in and set people straight.
Yes, that was Hillary's answer on education.
So it was her, because I didn't.
Yes, a child's first family is the home, and that's why we're for universal pre-K, and we should send visiting nurses and social workers to the home. You're Winston Smith in 1984. They're sending government workers just because you have a baby. Leave me alone. I'm trying to nurse here.
Well, and the final point, because we're out of time, and you must call back again. But the final point here, comment on this. On that same subject matter of education, shouldn't it be the coup de grace of whoever is challenging Hillary, whether they are Republicans or whether they're Democrats right now, that she is boasting of her 35 years helping public education out? Shouldn't that just end the campaign right now?
Yes, all of their answers on education. One of the moderators pointed out something I write about in Godless. For each year a child spends in the government schools, our math and science and reading tests go far down compared to other countries. So by the time they're seniors in high school, Americans are testing, behind the children of Zimbabwe. I think there are like 2 other countries we beat in the world. So, Democrat solution, let's apply more of the disease. And all of them, their main point on education is we must shovel more money to the teachers' unions. That's the key here. So really, you have to watch the debate to see that none of these people are qualified. Forget to be president. They aren't qualified to own a pet.
Well, and a big vote in Utah tomorrow. Utahns are actually going to have a chance to just kick the teachers' unions out and say, okay, you guys are all fired here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a cool choice. Yeah, we're completely out of time, and you must promise to come back soon. And
I will.
Promote whatever you want, because it's been a year. But I just have to ask you, this is a slightly personal question, because we watch a lot of Fox News, and I've seen you on Spitball with Chris Matthews, and I've seen you on some of these other shows, and it appears to me that there are some shows that when you go on, you're just like, God, why am I here? You idiots invited me on, and I'm trying to answer the question. Why don't you shut up and let me talk?
Yes, and that's generally reflected in their ratings, I must say.
I sit there now, and just as a person that does broadcasts, I'm just going like, if I were her, you know what I'd be thinking like right now? I wish that the pie that kid threw at me in Kentucky was in my hand. Because I would throw right back at you, and we are out of time. Hang on a sec, because I know the Rev has a question for you. We'll be right back. The book is If Democrats Had Any Brains, They'd Be Republicans.